Welcome back. We have more identified remains from Pearl Harbor, an update on the Huntsville police officer who was convicted of murder, and efforts to clean up the state constitution. My name's Ike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama. The Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency has identified the remains of another Alabama sailor who was killed when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, reports AL.com's William Thornton. Navy Fireman Second Class Ralph C. Battles of Boaz, Alabama, has been officially accounted for and has a scheduled burial for August 28th back home in Boaz. Battles was aboard the USS Oklahoma. 429 crewmen died on that ship. More than 2,000 Americans lost their lives that day in Pearl Harbor. In 2015, the agency exhumed unknown remains of sailors who were aboard the Oklahoma and has been analyzing them ever since. In 2018, the remains of Navy water tender Second Class Edgar Gross of Athens, Alabama, were identified. Huntsville police officer William Ben Darby, who was convicted of murder 2 months ago in a case involving Darby's shooting of a man who was threatening suicide, is still on the payroll, reports AL.com's Ashley Remkus. Darby is out on bond and is still technically employed, although he has been stripped of his law enforcement certification and, as you would expect, is not on active duty. He has, however, through at least the middle of last month, still been drawing over a couple $1,000s on a bi-week paycheck. Also, there is some speculation about Darby's leave. Back on May 20th, the same day that the city announced Darby was on leave, an email from Police Chief Mark McMurray's account went out to the department's employees with a request to donate leave time to an unnamed employee with an undisclosed medical condition. Now, Chief McMurray said he doesn't know who that was for and said he didn't send the email, and that it may have been information from HR that his secretary sent out on his account. The city would neither confirm nor deny that the person who would receive that leave time might be Darby, and the city attorney said the city cannot discuss Darby's leave status. If the Alabama state constitution were a person, in Alabama we might describe him as a hoss. And not just a hoss, but a real mess. And the guy who uses the kind of language, you can't really take him out in public. What I mean is, it's big and cumbersome. It's been amended 977 times and has had so much struck out of it, and some of the racial language and its original goal of maintaining white supremacy aren't exactly qualities you brag about in a state constitution. Now, there are items in our Constitution from the past calling for segregation and poll taxes, and some of the language is dated and or ugly. However, changing your Constitution is not a light project. But now finally, after voters approved an effort to make changes and reorganize the document, the job is underway, reports AL.com's Mike Kaysen. The Legislative Committee on the Recompilation of the Constitution held its first meeting this week. Legislative Services Agency Director Othni Lathram, under advisement from the committee, is supposed to draft a recompiled constitution and submit it to the state legislature next year. If it passes, it'll have to go back on the ballot for voters to approve. Now, the legislation that allows the changes narrows the focus to 4 areas: removing racist language, removing repeating or repealed sections, consolidating economic development provisions, and arranging local amendments by county, which all should make it an easy, breezy read. Thank y'all for listening. Have a great weekend. We're going to be back here on Monday. Until then, stop by and see us anytime you want to. We'll be on the World Wide Web at AL.com.